tiger on the prowl. I'ma make it go wild. I'm original, and I told you so. I'm a kid in the candy store with the leather on the denim. I ain't the cure, I'm the venom. If you wanna find me, find the taillight. Something's coming in, you're gonna wanna take a red eye. It's time to go. It's time to go. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. I don't wait for nobody. I'm a summer name on the dotty. City lights call my name, drawn to the flame, and I'm feeling kinda naughty. I hit the ground running, step out the door and I'm stunning. Better hold tight cause you know what's going down. I'm setting the pace cause this is my town. So get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Don't blink, don't blink.
Good afternoon, what up Wednesday, good evening, good morning, and all the goods. Let's just have all the goods. It's great to have you here. I am just buzzing today. It's been quite a week of hockey. I have to say that my Monday morning was it was chaos because the ritual has emerged. It seems to be a bit of a pattern that after a weekend of big games, my inbox fills with glorious greetings of what the hell was this? And I end up spending a good chunk of my Monday responding to all those things. I compile all those thoughts, feelings, and observations and eventually bring them to you here on Wednesday. So thank you for coming. We are going to do that. Today we are absolutely going to hit up that indoor briefing I've been threatening for a month. I feel really bad. It's hard though, because these important things happen in the hockey world and things need to be upped because they're what? And it's Wednesday and we have to what up them. But we're going to get to that indoor briefing. We're going to talk about the outdoor briefing as well in somewhat brief things. But we're going to start off with that shootout that everybody wants to know. The Harvard-Michigan shootout. So I'm excited about getting into it. I'm going to see just how quickly we can do it. How quickly can we get through this scenario? I'm just saying, it's going to be one of those days where I'm expecting it to be nice and quick and it's going to take forever. Anyway, let's see who's in the show first because as you all know, as I poke myself in my eye, it's my favorite thing to know who's here, and I am just always excited. Wait a minute. I can see some names I haven't seen for a while, so this is going to be very, very good. Rachel first, atta girl, ready far too early after a day of umpiring under 13 girls at Lee Valley with Ian and Gary. Nice. I hope you said hi from me to them. I'm sure you didn't. You were busy. You were umpiring. But I hope you had a good time. Oh my gosh. Whoa. What is happening? Okay, let's see. This might just throw off my whole rhythm. I'm concerned. Get that Cabernet Sauvignon poured. I've got my tea ready, so I'm geared up. This is going to be a day. This is going to be experience. Nils is here, and Lucio. Hey guys, Great to have you. Simon is just back in from 3 games in a row at Reading. Had to stop the game to get the home captain to appeal to the crowd to behave. Behave. I'm interested in this story, Simon. I hope you come in the Discord server and regale us with some tales of woe and of triumph, because I think you triumphed. I'm just going to guess that. Greg, yes, you back this week. Yeah, you are. Okay. Whoa, what is up with my energy levels? I'm over the top here. Urian, great to have you. Andrew the Fine Kiwi, and now the wait begins. That is a great channel or tag, handle, avatar, whatever. I love it. I'm a little confused about what the wait begins on your channel is, but hey, it's probably really good. You need the indoor briefing, says Simon, as you're doing indoor on Sunday. World Cup trials for over 50s and 55s. Go on. Aren't you a little bit of a big deal today? Oh my. Congratulations. There you go. Godders, always thought you had a great crowd appeal and rapport. Good to have you, Scott Riley. Great to see you. Kia ora to Stefan. Great to have you. Lou Raider is here. Of course he is. There's 2 Kiwis in the room, at least. There's usually a few. So, okay. Oh boy, that was, oh man, Rachel, I was really worried. Glad we fixed that. Yes, crowd behavior can be pretty distressing at times. Maybe we'll talk about that some other day, but not this day, because this day is full of the briefings. Do not distract me. Can you hear that? Yeah. Godders, it's a shame that England hockey doesn't take the indoor more seriously. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. But every time we get into this conversation, Godders, we talk about hall availability and planning and willpower and all that kind of stuff. And what I'm learning about England hockey is that planning and willpower are not at the top of the skill set. Let's put it that way. I'm in a bit of a mood. There may be a rant coming on. Let's see how we do. Good day and good morning. Brian! This is who I was talking about. I saw your name flash up and I'm so excited you're here. How are you doing? Send me a personal message, please, because I just want to check up on you and see how things are going. I have been thinking about you in the last few weeks, so please give me an update. Go into the Discord DMs. Tomas is here, of course, and Stefan, yes, is fighting a battle to get indoor started in New Zealand, especially in his area. So we are supporting that for sure. Niels, yes, hit the what? But not yet. Oh no, you know what? It's okay. I don't want people to forget. It's a fine line between getting those likes in and not getting them in too early. Yes, but YouTube proof is a very good thing. I want to win you over in time. If you're new to this stream as well, please let everybody know. You can see we have an amazing community here and just a blast hanging out with each other on these Wednesday, or if you're ahead of time, if you're living in the future, it might be Thursday. It might even be Thursday morning. We've had some people from the future visit us at times. So if you are one of those people, please say hi in the comments so we can give you a proper warm welcome. Probably tease you a little bit. I'm sorry. It's just how we roll. That's the most excited anybody's ever been. I know. That's what we bring. Ryan Dixon, are you new? I can't remember. AJ, you're here. Your high school season and etc. must be over in your area. So now you got a little bit more time that you can join in. I'm glad you're here. Greg, high on your list too is indoor. Yes, it is. There you are. Mark Cumming is here. And there you go. We all do like to say hello to the new people. So if you're one of those people, awesome. If you were in the replay squad, then get in the comments and live tweet it as if you're watching it with us all. It's my favorite thing. Just get in there and be like, yell at me as if I can hear you. And I'll get the comments and I'll respond. It's fun. Okay. So now that I've got a handle on everybody, everybody's here. Yeah, 3 likes. Okay. So everybody's following the instructions very well. I like to hear it. Let's hand out some flowers first. The wall of text guy is here. Hashtag accurate. Hashtag standard. Hashtag wall of text. Okay. We're going to get you a shirt, sir. We're going to get you a shirt that says wall of text. That's going to be there for you. Yeah, Scotland has a really good indoor setup. They have a fantastic program, and I know they don't think so from the inside, but they really do, because they develop fantastic players. Their squad is very competitive, and their indoor club scene is strong. So that would be worthwhile. And this is what we do. Is we create connections and we network and we share knowledge and support across the world. So glad you are all here. Okay, flowers. Let's get to the flowers. Okay, just a couple things I wanted to mention, and I'm probably going to be embarrassing both these human beings, but too bad. This is how I roll. First off, Mr. Alex Miles, he is the gentleman on the right of these 2 fine-looking people right here. Alex Miles is one of our Yellow members and a very good long-time friend of mine here in Canada. He has been appointed to the Pan Am Cup in January in 2022 down in Santiago. So, wait, where's DJ Horn? Big congratulations, Alex. I'm happy for you. We've already started our work together. That was Monday, as he sent me all these clips and said, okay, am I on drugs? Let's talk about these. And we went through a wall of clips via text. It was a great experience. I loved every moment of it. But in addition to the flowers we're given to Alex, oh my God, it's the same photo, because here on the left-hand side is his very good friend and my very good friend, Ridge Bear, who is going to his first NCAA Final Four next weekend. So I wanted to congratulate both of you on those achievements. Well done. And yeah, I just feel lucky that you guys are part of the community. So thanks for being you. And I can't wait to support you more in the future. Oh yeah, that is you. He's here. He actually showed up. Oh, there you go. Yep. Share your congratulations, please, for them. And yes, hop into the Discord together. I can set up even like private rooms and stuff where you guys can have conversations, or like just, it's a cool thing in Discord is that you can just spontaneously start a phone call with somebody. An audio conversation with somebody. You can just like, boop, hit one button and you're able to talk. And I know you can do that in WhatsApp and that kind of thing. But this is nice because you don't necessarily have to share your phone number or your entire friend list with somebody. But if you're on a Discord server together, you could have this conversation and you could have a quick chat instead of sending texts back and forth for 4 hours on a Monday. Not mentioning any names, Alex. There you go. Adam, you are still very welcome. I'm glad you're here. Doesn't matter. And for more Discord tips, ask Niels. Absolutely. Okay, let's get into this. We are at 12:16. I am running a tight ship today. And by tight ship, I mean I'm going to just really try to get through all the things. But we need to talk about this scenario. Okay, friends, we need to talk about this. This came about from the Harvard-Michigan playoff match that decided which of these 2 teams were going to the Final Four. This was the last shootout of the game. Just playing it a couple times. I'm going to mute it now, and I would like to hear your comments. I've seen a lot of things on social media. And as I said to Godders on Twitter earlier today, unfortunately, about 75% of it is wrong. So get in the comments. Let me know. It's okay, you guys. Working through this is why we get better, is because we're going to work through this together. But I'd like to know what y'all think. I'm just going to keep it looping. Here, I'll turn the sound back on again so you can hear it. Says Daniel, if we're going to punish anyone, the attacker should be penalized, otherwise play on. Please explain. I'd like to hear this. Greg, oh, I missed this, but that's a free hit defense for you. Keeper's stick kicked out of her hand. Free hit defense for kicking away the stick of the goalkeeper. Obstruction? I don't really think so. Scott, wow, the goalkeeper isn't allowed to play without holding her stick, but what was the true cause of her not having her stick? Was she obstructed? Well observed, Mr. Riley. As always. Simon looks as though the attacker kicks the goalkeeper's stick out of her hand. Okay, you guys, can I just stop for a moment? I'm so proud of y'all. I really am. This is like, I'm having some warm fuzzy moments. This is making me feel very positive about the world. Jack, first up though, hasn't the attacker moved the stick out of the way? Jack, you're learning so quickly, Jack. Stefan, free hit defense for the first offender by kicking the stick away. This is great. You never have to apologize, okay? You keep doing your thing because it's awesome. Urian agrees. That's fantastic. Keeper takes the ball cleanly. Attacker kicks the stick away. Okay. This is great. It is only going to take 5 minutes. So let's just do this quickly. Why is this? You know, these previous and overlay buttons just do not work for me whatsoever. Let's try this instead. Okay. So what I saw in a lot of the conversation was a focus on what the goalkeeper was doing. And it's absolutely true that a goalkeeper must have their stick in their hand if they're going to play the ball. End of story. In a shootout, that means if the stick isn't there, they're done. Okay? And if they do interfere with the play, we're going to talk about what the remedy is in a shootout in just a second. But if they do, it is an intentional foul. Okay? So that, absolutely, that's very clear. That's well identified. But what I absolutely love about what you guys said is that you noticed that it wasn't, the goalkeeper didn't just drop her stick. And this is the rule. If you need to pin it on a rule, you can pretty much talk about anything. But there is 9.3, and sorry, I know it's a little cramped and garbled and stuff like that, but that's because the typesetting on the rules book is crap. Players must not touch, handle, or interfere with other players or their sticks or clothing, which means that you can't remove the stick out of a player's hand. You can't grab it, you can't kick it, you can't stomp on it such that the goal that a player can't control their stick. And as you were all very good at pointing out, that is exactly what happens here. So I'll just scroll through it really carefully so that you can see, well identified. This is an exceptional save by that goalkeeper. It's clean. It's all ball. She gets the ball. And then after that, the attacker's right foot comes through down onto the stick and onto the goalkeeper's hand, maybe a little bit, and and kicks the stick out of the way. Okay. That ain't a drop. That's a kick. So the remedy here is clearly a free hit for the defense. Immediately done. Now, as it turns out, as you saw, as this has rolled out a few times, the shootout was deemed over by a play on, and Harvard won the game and went through the Final Four, and that is the correct result. However, the rationale and what actually was called in the game was it was wrong. It was incorrect. But that's the way it goes. So let's talk really quickly about what we would have done had this actually been a foul by the goalkeeper, if the goalkeeper had reached out and in that process dropped their stick and then continued to make attempts on the ball, influence the play, or actually made a save as the goalkeeper did here. Okay. Neil's again just supporting that was an awesome action of the keeper. You're absolutely right. And Yurian, during a shootout, I assume an offense by the attacker simply ends the attempt. Yes. I mean, it's free hit, ends the shootout, whatever the case might be. And you haven't had to do a shootout yet. Wow. That is fascinating. Okay. So Simon, if dropped stick, then penalty, stroke, and a yellow card. Right. Let's just take a sec to talk about what the rules are around. And now I'm realizing, man, I really should have had this queued up, because you're not going to believe me when I tell you the shocking reality of what cards and shootouts mean. Okay, but I'm going to pull it up. I can do this on the fly because I'm a superstar. I'm actually sitting here going, oh my God, how fast can I do this? How fast can I do this? Briefing. Where's my shootout briefing? Oh, that's right, because I don't want to be in the briefings. I want to be in the regulations folder. That's what I want to do. Okay, watch this. Regulations, shootout competition. Okay, so I have that, and now I'm going to create a screen share overlay. Because what I want you to understand is that it is going to be a very, very rare situation that we are going to give a card to a goalkeeper in a shootout. And I am going to tell you why. Okay? That's actually not too bad. I'm just going to blow it up really, really big. Okay. This is Appendix 12 out of the FIH Outdoor General Tournament Regulations, the most up-to-date version. So this whole body of regulations doesn't necessarily apply to every FIH competition. It doesn't necessarily apply to your competition in your area. But what most jurisdictions are doing is taking these particular regulations verbatim and applying them in their jurisdiction. Man, wouldn't it be a great world if everybody did this for everything? Rant. And scene. Okay. So what I want to draw your attention to, and I hope you can see it on the screen, we are looking at this clause 15. First of all, a player may be suspended by a yellow or a red card, but not by a green card in the in the shootout competition. Okay, so there's no green cards available, first off. Now, when you start reading into section 16, if during a shootout competition, including any penalty stroke which is awarded, a player is suspended by a yellow or red card, that player plays no further part in that shootout competition unless a goalkeeper defending player cannot be replaced. The replacement for the suspended goalkeeper can only come from the 5 players on the team nominated to take the shootout. That means you yellow card or red card a goalkeeper in a shootout. One of the other shooters has to put on the equipment. And as you can see under subclause I, the replacement goalkeeper defending player is allowed a reasonable time to put on the protective equipment and to take them off for their own shootout, should that be necessary at that point. So what we're talking about is probably the harshest penalty that can be awarded. It is virtually a red card, except it may not attract the out-of-match bans and the continuing discipline that you have in your jurisdiction or whatever. But it's for the rest of the shootout. You're done. You're done for the game. And you can't put in your second kitted goalkeeper. And you can't pull somebody off the bench who might be really good at goalkeeping, but don't normally wear the pads, and put them in the pads and then bring them in the game. No, it has to be from one of your 5 shooters. That's a big deal, you guys. That's a very big deal. So you are going to only award a yellow card in situations where that particular individual player, that goalkeeper, or that attacker, if the attacker's being an absolute violent knobhead, because you can't break down play as an attacker in a shootout. You're just committing fouls and giving up your shootout. So you would have to do something stupid in the form of misconduct, something dangerous, something just out of this world. I can't even imagine what they would need to do. Probably hit the goalkeeper with their stick or something like that. So the goalkeeper has to have done something so severe, so serious that you cannot maintain the integrity of that game and keep that player in the competition. Okay, so you're not giving out these cards with impunity. I myself have yet to witness a goalkeeper receiving a yellow card or a red card in a shootout competition. I've seen one situation where I thought it was pretty darn close, and that was at the FIH Pro League Finals in 2019 when Bellansucci of Argentina took out Jodie Kenny on her attempt, a very late slide tackle, stacking the pads, wiped Kenny out. Kenny fell and separated her shoulder, and that was kind of the end of it for her. It was the end of her tournament, and that was kind of the last of her career. It was very late. It was nasty. So I was surprised. That was pretty close to saying, whoa, no. We can't risk you doing that again. And even then, the yellow card wasn't given. Okay, so we're really talking about something super extra, as the kids would say. All right. Let's see what the other comments are. Oh boy. My friend Rich can't kick the stick. He knows the rules. Good job. Okay, Mark, if the keeper just drops the stick, then a penalty stroke. Dropped penalty stroke, but wouldn't give a card in a shootout. Yes, Greg. So I don't mean to show your comments that you gave before I gave my entire explanation, but I'm going to do it anyway. So mean. Jack, pretty sure shootout rules say an intentional by a goalkeeper is a penalty stroke. Absolutely right. Unintentional is a retake. And that's interesting, Jack, because as the shootout has matured as a tie-breaking method, it's become less and less of a thing to award a retake. Now, in the Olympics, we saw a couple retakes that pretty much everybody in the world said, not a retake. It's a stroke. Or it could have been a free hit the other way. There was a big debate in the GB Spain quarterfinal about that. And then in the gold medal final for the men, there was a retake awarded, which was just not. It just wasn't. But it's difficult. It's difficult to award those big penalty strokes. But really, a goalkeeper has to trip, sorry, I heard that plosive myself. The goalkeeper has to trip and stumble, and it, something really maybe like a piece of their equipment falls over, and then they trip over that, and then they fall into the player, and that stops the play. It's got to be something to that degree in order for it to be considered to be unintentional at that level, in that situation, because they're trying to stop that shot. So it's just not there. And whatever card, okay, we've been through that. Ignoring the kick, the goalkeeper's action warranted a stroke. Yep. So I went through this in the Discord server. So those of you who have seen that are like super primed. They know what's going on. Okay. Rachel, you did a shootout earlier today. Congratulations. Yeah, you really do. You really do. This is a situation where, the stakes are so high. Every shot counts. Every shot really matters. So that's where you're going. Yes, a yellow card in normal play. Yeah. Absolutely. Because you can put your second kitted goalkeeper on, you can put any other player on, you can play with the field players. One of the interesting points, I can't remember who asked, I think it was in a different Discord server. Don't go there. Always come to FH Umpires. But I'm just kidding. We were discussing it from the goalkeeper's perspective and whether you would want to kit up. Would you necessarily want to kit up a shooter, a field player, and put them in to defend that next shootout, assuming that there is one? Maybe you would want to keep them as a field player. No equipment, therefore no goalkeeper privileges. And it's just a one-on-one. And I have obviously never seen this happen. But I'm intrigued by the idea. I'm intrigued by the idea because obviously if you put a player in who is already in a high stress state, may well have never worn goalkeeping equipment before, and gets put in the goal to defend a shootout, maybe they would be better served by being able to defend the way that they know they can. But you're talking about a player who has to start at 0 meters, and the attacker starts at 23 meters, and at the 15-meter mark, they can take a shot because they're inside the circle. So, not so sure about that. Of course, when you dribble the ball, you go slower than you do if you're just sprinting without the ball. There's these little things. So this is something that I'm going to try with the dinos. I'm going to try to do some of these and see how it goes. There you go. Niels, oh, you can't read that. Sorry, it's tough because it's a wall of text. Daniel. What if a goalkeeper is injured during a shootout? They can be replaced by one of the players on the bench. So that is the next part. And if I go back to the text that you can't read, here, can I make it really, really big? I'm just gonna and then wait, if I do this part, oops. Is that bigger? I hope you can see this now. So we're now dealing with section 17. If the defending goalkeeper, defending player / is incapacitated, they can be replaced by another player among the players listed on the match report. So from the bench, that is permitted. Except as excluded if they've been suspended by an umpire. They get a reasonable time to put on the equipment similar to what the incapacitated player was wearing, and blah, blah, blah. Okay? So I need to delete that so you can see me again. Hi. So yes, an injury is a very different situation than a card. And that is the way in which the card adds that extra layer, massive extra layer of punishment. Okay. Any questions about that? I was wrong too. It's 12:36 though. We have lots of time. We're doing okay. But okay, I really, okay. Steve. I'm calling you Steve. It's like me calling you by your middle name. This notion of what is cynical is like, we don't have to rely on cynicism as being the reason. Like, we have a full reset available to us. We can reset the balance, the scales of justice with that penalty stroke for that intentional foul. Okay, if that happens somewhere else out onto the pitch and somebody does something that's yellow card worthy, okay, you can talk about cynicism and how the kicking the foot out and stopping the ball that stops the ball from going into the 23 on a breakaway, that's cynical. Fine, whatever. It's just breaking down the play. I don't care. We can't take it as it's not extra bad because the player understands, look, I know that I broke the rules and I'm willing to take the punishment for that. Because the better option for me was to stop that play with this cheater pants maneuver. We just administer the penalty and off they go. I don't care how hard they thought about it. What we deal with in this situation, the only reason that we need to do something extra on this is because the player was a dangerous jerkface. Okay, so let's not grab our little keywords and then insert them in situations that they're not needed. We don't need to do that inside the circle in a shootout with a goalkeeper. I would absolutely expect every goalkeeper, if they drop their stick, to try to keep making the save. That doesn't make them a horrible person. It doesn't make them a poor sport. It makes them a person doing what it takes until the rules have changed, and intentionally stopping a probable goal should result in a penalty goal. And we had that in our rules for a while. Back in 2011, it was still there. We had penalty goals in shootouts. Ask me how I know. And that was removed because we realized we don't want that. We don't want umpires calling goals for balls that haven't crossed the goal line. It's a bad look. It just doesn't look good in our game. So we decided as a community that it's okay from that perspective. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened in the world that a goalkeeper cheats like that. No, let's not take this one personally. This is not nastiness. It's not. I don't like the nastiness that puts other players in danger. That's when we should get a little bit, our shorts should get a little twisted there. Nick. Scott, last weekend you had a defender drop her stick and still chase after the attacker who was ready to shoot. I got sent that scenario. Was it on WhatsApp? Was it on Twitter? Yes, it was posted to me on Twitter by the hockey coach. So if you haven't seen that, even if you don't have your own Twitter account, just go to, excuse me, un momento, por favor. If you haven't seen it, go to twitter.com/FHumpires. And I replied to the hockey coach who sent me that scenario, exactly that scenario. And the attacking player managed to get through towards the goalkeeper. The defender was still chasing without their stick. And it affected the options that were available to that ball carrier. And a corner and a green card was awarded. And I'm like, yeah, great. That's terrific umpiring. Correct call. Thank goodness I got to see one of those. Sorry. It was a rough few days. Scott, she disagreed rudely with being suspended, saying that her momentum kept her going for more than 10 meters and changing direction at least twice. And again, this is one of those things, is that players, once they know the rules, if they do something like that, they should then say, yep, fair enough. I did it. Off I go. Thank you, umpire, for giving me the appropriate penalty. I will go, but I did my job. Okay, this is competition. It's competition. And it's up to the rules to have something more serious in place. That if you do X, Y, or Z, it's an automatic red card. But we don't have that in our game because we don't have to, because that's dumb. What if a player is given a yellow within 2 minutes of remaining in normal time? I assume you're... oops, that didn't go up on the screen. I assume you're asking, Daniel, whether this player can then participate in the shootout. And yes, they can. So it's only red-carded players who are then ineligible for participating in a shootout. At the end of time, your yellow card suspension is considered over, as is your green card suspension. Oh, and apparently Niels is my brain twin and asked the same thing. Yes. Yes. You guys are doing great today. You're doing great. If you give more yellow cards, you stop bad behavior. Yeah, I know. But I'm telling you, Steve, the consequences to that team are so much more magnified It's got to be a bigger deal than just that. It has to be. And that was the last shootout. Yeah, so you wouldn't have had to have yellow carded them anyway. But you wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known. It may, because I don't know if that was the, that could have been shootout number 3 and nobody had scored yet and a few more shootouts need to be taken, so you don't know. Greg, same in a game, if a player is round the keeper, I always want my defender to stop it with any means necessary. I fancy saving the stroke. Yeah. The stoke. That keeper kept making good saves without her stick and did not break any rules intentionally. It was a great scenario. Should she be commended for her technique and never say... she should be commended for her technique and never say die attitude. And yeah, I'm okay with that. Wow, Godders. I don't know. Part of what you have to understand as well, I will address this to everybody, is that there's a reason that I come here and express as strongly as I can when it's necessary what the consensus viewpoint is. So last week when it was the, what were we arguing about? That slide tackle. And you had the most senior members of this community. You had Dan Barstow, World Cup umpire, Lila Sacre, FIH Elite Panel umpire, me, all saying it's okay. That is not an automatic slide tackle yellow card. There's a reason for that. Okay, so I'm trying to now give you some information as to why and what the benefit is of learning from the senior members in the community. Okay. This standard could change, Godders. This could change in the future so that it becomes more commonplace. Because remember, we've only had the shootout since 2011. Ask me how I know. I did the first one in international competition in history. I'm just saying. It's just like one of my favorite things to say. I didn't get to set a lot of records or do cool things as an international umpire, but I'm taking that one. So we've only had it for 10 years. So in that period of time, how many scenarios have played out? Hundreds? Thousands? Whereas with other calls, other decisions we've made, we have a full, like hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of calls that have all contributed to our body of knowledge and our record of that. Things change. But I'm telling you right now that the consensus opinion is not to give a yellow card there. So I would highly recommend that you don't. I love you. Daniel, I had an instance a few years ago where a defender's stick snapped in half at his hit, so he feigned kicking the ball, didn't kick it, and then shielded the ball. Funny to watch. Weirdos. Hi, Corey. Good to see you. Did you first under 19 this past weekend? That's great. No, it's not. Okay? It's not treated that way right now. Think about consistency. And that's going to take me really nicely into the rest of the conversations about the briefings as we get into that. And may lead into my rant of the week. Sam, hi. Good to see you. Okay. Are we good? Can I move on? I've thoroughly bashed that. We spent, oh man, it's 45 minutes in. There we go. Let's get into the briefings. Okay. First off, I'm going to briefly on the briefing. Let's keep it brief. Talk about where are we at? Okay. I'm here. Plain window. The outdoor briefing. Now, I'm fairly certain that this still has yet to be released out on the FIH website. Okay. It says 2021-22. There's no guidance. Release date 11/5. I don't think it's going to get posted until after the NCAA Final Four. I'm just saying. And just before the Men's Junior World Cup starts. And the Men's Champions Trophy and the Women's Junior World Cup. I'm just throwing it out there as a guess. That's what I think is going to be happening. But this is the release date for it. So, the fact that it hasn't been uploaded could be an intentional effect. It could be, it could just be that administratively they haven't gotten to it. Who knows? Okay. There's very little that's different in this briefing I'm just going to scroll through it because I went slide by slide through this entire presentation so that I could determine what was different. This is it. Removing the penalty corner equipment. Now, you may remember that time at band camp, we were in the middle of the beginning of the Olympics, and we talked about this really weird being generous, directive that came a few days before the Olympics started to the team managers and to the umpiring team and the technical teams at the Olympics, saying that as soon as the penalty corner was deemed over by the rules, that face masks and all other protective equipment had to be removed immediately. If it wasn't done so, regardless of whether it was inside or outside the circle, it had to be a penalty corner. And if the play continued and the player was wearing their protective equipment outside the 23, then it was a free hit and a card. Okay. That was crazy town. Absolute crazy town. Okay. We had a green card issued against, I think it was Spain, the Spain women's team, fairly early in the tournament. We had all kinds of confusion. We had a video referral in the Argentina-India women's quarterfinal game where the Argentinians kept playing with their face masks on, and a penalty corner was called, and it was referred, and it was overturned. And I mean, it was just a really, really terrible, confusing thing to do. And what has resulted is that in the last couple months, I've had people asking me, so do I give a corner if a player's wearing a face mask outside of the circle? And I'm like, no, please, no, don't. That was put in place specifically at the Olympics, and the regular briefing hadn't changed. Okay, I hope that's my wrap up of that whole situation. And I did express some pretty strong opinions as to how I felt about that whole situation. Go back to some replays if you want more. Now, this is what we're dealing with, is the relaxation significantly of the standard, saying that there's an unfair disadvantage to defenders immediately after penalty corner is concluded if the play continues, to be forced to remove their protective equipment so they can continue to play. So basically, the new interpretation to be applied is that players should remove their penalty corner equipment as soon as they are able to do so after the penalty corner is completed, but they can continue to wear it whilst they are in the 23-meter area without penalty. All players must remove all protective equipment before they leave the 23-meter area. So ask me any questions that come to your mind about this. The first thing that I would argue is that this means that there will never be a penalty corner awarded for a player wearing a face mask outside the reasonable parameters, because they will only be penalized if they do so outside the 23, and we can't award a penalty corner for anything that happens outside the 23. Okay? Yay. Thank goodness. Because that sucked. Could you be in a position where you would have to award a card against a player who's wearing a face mask outside of the 23? Possibly. I would anticipate that situation would only come to you if it was a repeated instance, or if there was some actual danger involved, and the player, the defender who was continuing to wear the face mask, conducted themselves in a dangerous manner towards another player because of that face mask. That's what I would say. Okay, I'm going to go to the comments and see what y'all say. Yay, indoor. Next. Daniel, it's still on the website is just down today and you have your copy. Yeah, and I have added it to the resources channel of the Discord server. So just as another method and to make it faster for people to find it, I do link to the original pages on the FIH website, but I've also put it there for your quick downloads as well. So please go there. Greg, you love the change. Inside the 23, it's fine. Outside, it's not. It's easy. Yes, it's clear. It's defined. I think the only sort of gray area here is that the players should still remove the equipment as soon as they're able to, but they can continue to wear it. So the should and the can is a little bit, but I mean, I think the way we address that as umpires is that we are proactive, as we've always been, encouraging players to get their equipment off. And if you are a defender who thinks that you gain a benefit somehow by wearing a face mask for extended periods of time, then you're crazy. I have not met a single defender who said, man, I love the vision that I have in this. I can see the ball so much more clearly than I can if I'm not wearing it. Okay, it cuts down on your vision. So you're making a compromise when you're wearing it and you're defending a penalty corner, trying to save your face and your brain. Totally fair. Me, I just choose not to play that position. But wearing it and compromising your ability to see the ball at your feet, it's a known cost-benefit analysis. Okay. Any questions about that? What about knee pads? Didn't they say they're available to wear all the time? That is maybe a point that the FIH is going to be asked to clarify. I have been convinced by the arguments of Rob Ted Catt in this respect. He and I have had several conversations about this over the last year. And his argument is that as long as they comply with the equipment specifications that exist in the rules of hockey, there's no specific language that says that a big glove, for example, can only be worn during a penalty corner. The specific language that restricts face masks exists, that they're only to be worn during a penalty corner, but it's not the same about the big mitts and the knee guards. So his argument was, you should be able to wear those anytime you want. They're dumb, but you know, they don't serve the purpose. And again, the cost-benefit analysis, it's almost like letting the market speak on this. If a player wants to run around in basically ice hockey gloves that fit inside the box as it's listed in the rules of hockey, do I need to show it? If you guys want to see it up on the screen, you want me to show you the part of the rules that does that, please do let me know. But a player who actually would want to run around the field with those big mitts on, double glovers, as I've heard them disparagingly referred to by some international players, it's like that seems like a poor skill choice. And the cost benefit really slants in favor of get those mitts off so that you can actually play the ball properly. But maybe the game is going to evolve and change in the future, but that's the way it is at the moment. So I believe that's there. Okay, so Goddard's has gotten to the next point about this. So I will star this and I'll get back to it. Daniel, does stop defenders launching their mask blindly in a panic? Yes. So there is kind of a safety aspect, especially for the umpires, in that. Urian, does it change the fact that you aren't allowed to take a self-pass with your mask on after a free hit defense? Yeah. Yep. So that guidance is still going to sit in the rules of hockey, but it's kind of overridden by this guidance in the briefing, should your area decide that they're going to apply it. And we're going to talk about that in a sec. Okay. Yeah, and you can wear knee pads when you're playing. It's a thing that you can do. Okay. So, I'll just quickly, this is the only new thing in the briefing. There has been some conversation amongst certain jurisdictions, certain people in certain places saying, but wait a minute, what about this slide about the aerials and this thing about the interceptions and how safe interceptions basically outside the 5-meter area are going to be allowed? Well, this was in the 2020 umpires briefing, and this was in the 2019 umpires briefing, so this isn't new. And I have had conversations where I've asserted this position to quite deaf ears. If you are in an area where this is new, such that your area is saying, oh, geez, I don't know. You can even see right there, FIH Rules Committee Guidance, September 2019. I'm pointing at my screen and you can't tell. September 2019. There is no excuse for any national association not to be implementing this. Which brings me to my rant of the week. I spent way too long creating that. Rant of the week. Okay, so as Goddard's alluded to earlier, hi Simon Begg, good to see you. He was this there. That there's a note that's been distributed by England Hockey telling umpires not to apply the new interpretations in England until told to do so. England Hockey are aware the new interpretations are being discussed. I understand that national associations can sometimes be taken surprise by changes to the rules. And if you're, say, Field Hockey Canada, sometimes this stuff just kind of blows over and you go, whoa, okay, this is in the middle of our season. This is kind of okay. But our stance in our association, for example, has always been, well, if this is the international standard, this is the international standard, and it's our job to figure out how to follow it as soon as possible, regardless of what our personal views might be about changes that have been made. So when it was put in the briefing, for example, that personal penalties given inside the 23-meter area had to be met with the appropriate team penalty upgrade. No personal interpretations allowed. I absolutely vehemently disagree with that position. I think it's a bad way to umpire, but I'm going to tell everybody to do it because consensus is important. That whether you personally agree with something is only one piece of it and is not the most important piece of it. Because in order to serve the game, the biggest thing we can contribute is consistency. And then we work on how we get to that consistency later. And if that consistency sucks, then we press our international body to change that consistency to something that preserves the integrity of the game, the safety of the players, and the fairness in which it's being played. So you have your directives. If you're in England, you're not applying this yet until somebody decides that they think it should be applied. And I dislike that because it puts every umpire who's trying just to do their job and to be consistent with what's happening around the world, because we don't just umpire in a vacuum, we umpire within a community that exists far bigger. Some of us umpire players who are participating in international competitions, who in 1 week's time are going to be bound by this entire briefing. And just because a national association wants to play gatekeeper and they want to have their due consideration of things, they aren't the rules committee. I don't agree with everything that they do. I don't like everything they do. I think there's a lot of problems, but I have to put my ego aside and help you guys get consistent. And anything that operates against that, I think, is fundamentally not in the interest of the game. And that, my friends, is my rant of the week. Okay. Let's talk about the indoor briefing. We have 1/2 hour. Yes, 26 months ago. Or to 27. Thank you, Jack, for getting really technical about that. Hashtag worth it. Yeah. Yeah, everybody bleeds. I've literally played it twice, Stefan. God, I'm so wounded. I'll change the font every week. Does that help? Maybe I'll add a different sound effect. I'll have like the transparency could come for like 2 triangles, like smashing in the middle. Okay. Scott, you don't like the position yourself. The appropriate team penalty isn't necessarily a penalty corner or penalty stroke. And yes, consistent expectations are important. Greg, you missed the days of splitting your time between Scotland and England and umpiring different rules week on week. Yeah. So by the way, Greg, I understand that you're going to be umpiring this, but if you go into England hockey jurisdiction, you're not, even though the aerials have been in place for 2 years. Yes, I know. And I told him. So, I mean, on an absolute personal level, and you know, like David Alcock has been on my show. I'm a big fan. He and I have a long-standing, very respectful, very mutually beneficial relationship. I disagree with him on this. And I have done a graphic that shows how I disagree with it. And this is the problem. Communication. Keep trying. Okay. There you go. All right. Let me pull out the indoor briefing because I have to do this for Simon. Whoops. I just have to be there. File. Open recent. I'm getting there. Okay. There are a few more changes to the indoor briefing than there were to the outdoor. Okay. And like I said, I did the whole slide-by-slide comparison. And I found that there was one main theme that has changed. 1, 2, wait, no, this is 3, 4, 5. Key pillars. Yes. So one of the things that has changed in terms of the key pillars, and you'll see this on other slides that come up later, is preventing dead ball situations. So that's in the middle column that you see in front of you under promotion of flow. The very last point is preventing dead ball situations. Okay, so this is a big point of emphasis that the FIH has decided requires an evolving approach to be more proactive in dealing with this, okay? When you get to this section, and I'm going through it chronologically, like in the order of the slides, because it's easier for me to present it that way, there are a few different examples of hits and how those have changed. So feel free to have a look at those. Like that is a new one where you see the whip of the stick and you can see a very clear backswing. That's like 2 meters off. And just because the stick is sliding on top of the court does not mean that that is a push. The backswing that is clearly over 50 centimeters and well over even a meter makes that a hit. And a sweep hit, a sweep is still a hit. And a sweep hit is still a hit. The hit is redundant. Okay, so there's all of that. Okay. I'm going to skip this so I can get to the right slide number in my notes. Otherwise, it's going to get very confusing. So this is where we get to the dead ball situations they're talking about. And they're talking about ways in which the ball can be trapped and give us these moments of radio silence in a game that are no fun to watch. So you can see a few different examples with 2 sticks. I've also seen them done with 3 sticks as well. In the corners, whether you're an attacker, you're in the attacking end, or you're a defender, getting trapped like that is not good. You can also get trapped along the sideboards with 2 sticks, and you can also, even just with 1 stick, because you've got it right parallel to the boards, you can end up trapping the ball. So that has been added in order to fully illustrate those problems. And that what we're looking for as umpires is taking a proactive approach to instructing the players to create a channel where they can, a player can exit the situation. Okay. So if the player takes the ball into a defending or attacking corner and they don't make any effort to play the ball through a channel that you as an umpire have said, hey, this is your gap here. This is your opening. You need to take it, then you need to penalize that player for essentially failing to play. It's categorized as a form of obstruction, but it's a tough one. Okay. So what they're saying is they don't want to see bullies given for these situations anymore. They want players penalized in order to really discourage them, because a bully might be a better situation to be in as either player, because territorially, or not territorially, positionally, it's a better place for the ball to be in. You could do something more constructive with it. Okay. But you can see there's a channel up the boards in this situation, or the channel may be given. In the second diagram, you can see the orange team is defending, and the orange team has been given a lane across their goal. Now, I've been playing indoor for 35 years, and I'm that person very often, and I do not like that pass, but that is the pass that I am expected to give. And I need my teammates to be helping me out and making sure that that ball is effective. So there we go. So that is the new emphasis, or the increased emphasis on trapping or channeling. I hope that helps, Simon. What I'd like to do, of course, and this is always the case, if there's something that we talk about here in these briefings or in these situations that you're like, wow, I'd really like to talk more about this with Keely and the rest of the community, is come into the Discord channel and come into the Discord server and come ask your question. We will make particular threads to keep the questions and the answers all in the nice same place, so it's nice and organized for you. And let's work it through, because me explaining it like this can be one thing, but one of the important aspects about the briefing is that it's really not a prescriptive document. There are pieces of prescription in there, but there's actually a lot of places where it allows for discussion in order to fully flesh out the concepts. The same kind of discussion that we have on Let Up Wednesday every week. It's the kind of discussion you would have at a pre-tournament briefing meeting when you go through this presentation as an international umpire, for example, or a domestic umpire. This is what we do at our national championships, is we have a briefing meeting and we go through our tournament briefing, which takes all of these principles as they stand truly and then apply them to the level of play that we're going to see in front of us. So there's that. One of the other changes was with this slide 25, added to tighten up the way that injections are being taken, making sure that there isn't a feint, that there's 30 seconds that is generally given to prepare. The inserter has to be ready. The umpire's whistle starts the game and the insertion is immediate. Okay. If it's delayed, free push to the defense, which is very interesting. I would like you all to press me on that in the Discord server, because I think I need to examine that a little further under the indoor rules as they stand. Let's put a pin on this. I might pop out the rules to talk about it. Okay. The last change to this briefing is just a reinforcement of what we've seen in the outdoor briefings, talking about what I referred to earlier when I was ranting about consensus, is that if a deliberate offense is made inside that defender's defending half. Can I say the word defender a few more times? Not sure. So the penalty corner is the appropriate team penalty and may then also be awarded a personal penalty, depending on the seriousness of the offense or something like that.
Nicely taken. That's a good challenge. Kurtz won by one team or the other.
And what's interesting is the briefing then goes on right after that with the same sort of bullet point explanations of what are the green card offenses. This isn't new. This has always been there, but the green card offenses for 1 minute, low impact on play, misconducts, off the ball minor physical offenses, breakdown of play with low impact, team not ready for the penalty corner, or minor misconduct, crowding the umpire. Okay. And then the 2 minute yellow card offenses, which is equivalent to the 5 minute or the base yellow card, playing the ball after the whistle with high impact on play, or repeated offenses, breakdown with high impact on play, or repeated offenses with intentional use of feet, body, back, a stick, physical fouls with the body or the stick, including off the ball incidents, and repeated offenses in the green card area, 4 minutes, physical fouls that take by both attackers and defenders that ground or trip players, including sliding tackles, and drilling, depending on the danger and intent, high impact, repeated yellow card offenses there. Okay. So there's a nice symmetry between the indoor and the outdoor briefings in that respect. And I hope that that helps people understand where their starting point is in the control elevator with how they give cards. I've been asked by a couple of people recently to talk more in detail about the control elevator, and I do an intensive workshop on this topic because I've talked about it in several What Up Wednesdays, and it just takes a long time to work through because it's like chess. You start with a board, and as soon as one move is made, then you have all these other permutations that then can be the next thing. And there's so many factors involved, so many things to take into account. It's difficult to just have you can't make a flow chart. Or can you? If Crispy, if you're watching, let's talk about this and see if it's possible. I actually don't think it is, but you never know. Okay. So those are the new things in the indoor briefing, and that's it. Okay. If you are heading out to do some indoor hockey and you're feeling a little lost and you're not sure what's happening, I do have Ruly Tuesdays that have indoor content on them. And I've done some indoor What Up Wednesdays, I think last year. I'll try to link them in the comments, the descriptions, and maybe put up the little YouTube cards that I can put up. And again, I'm here. So if there are specific scenarios or specific questions you want me to cover in a What Up Wednesday, or you just like to talk it over in the Discord server, come and be a part of the fun. That's why I'm there. And it's really important to me. I get a lot of personal messages, and I love the contact with people, and oftentimes they're friends, and I think it's great. But unless there's a need for privacy around certain situations, which very well could exist, I'd like you to consider coming into the server and asking, because I want to be able to share the discussion with the greater group so we can develop consensus. Because if one person asks me a question and I answer it in a text message, I've helped one person. But if one person asks in the Discord server and then I can help and a few other people can help, then there's 350 people who get that answer, who could get that answer. And then those people can go out and they might tell 2 other people. And then somebody do the math. How many people now know that answer? And that's how we spread information much more effectively. So I want to be effective. Yay. Okay. Let's see what you're saying in the comments. Oh, I just saw the GMS word. That is not something that we're going to talk about. Same happened, Greg, with consistencies with 2-minute suspensions. Was the directive sent to important umpires and goddesses? It was via GMS. Oh, and then just shut that down. Oh, hi, Graham. You didn't say hello earlier. I'm glad you're here. Oh, can you imagine? Oh, Nick, he liked it and he hates my sound effects. Stefan. Brought to you by Thor, the God of Thunder, and 1970s typography. Yes. I searched really hard. Of the half an hour it took me to create that overlay, 20 minutes of it was trying to pick the right font. I have priorities. Play nice. There you are. Okay. GMS only sends to selected addresses. Yeah, Niels, this is a change that was made a few years ago. So don't worry about it if you haven't seen this. I actually kind of missed this a few years ago when it changed as well. And then I went, oh, whoa, as it says in the briefing. So the expected pattern should be from 2 minutes of the yellow card to 4 to what the hell are you doing? the yellow card that really shouldn't be there, because if you're at that point and you've issued enough yellow cards that you're on to what could be a, I don't know, 6-minute yellow card, you've got some big problems hitting you. Interesting that umpire interpretations may impact your coaching. Allow the team the out pass across goal and put that player under pressure. Yeah, exactly. That's what the teams are starting to do. And okay, let's talk about this in a happy way. This doesn't have to be rant of the week, but when I analyze the rules and I talk about how pretty much every rule in our book is around safety. So there's a logic that can come from that, and a way that logic informs our interpretations. The principles are evident because we hold the stick on one side of our body. There's a flat side and a round side. Everybody should be playing over on the right-hand side of their body. All these things, the distances that are involved, it calculates and it contextualizes the concept of danger for us. And that is what we use to figure out what we're going to call. These indoor rules about not trapping the ball are not around safety. It's not about danger. It's about pretty hockey. And that's why we get into trouble. There will always be a way to work around this. And Godders, as you said, what's going to happen is you give the channel, but then as a coach, you're going to say to your team, we got 2 people cutting off one channel, allow it to go across the goal, and now there's going to be a third person who's going to be standing right in front of that player. How are we as umpires going to be able to handle that and say, yep, take that ball across your goal and pass it right into this massively dangerous area? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'd want to take the penalty corner instead. I'd be a little concerned. The smart teams, and we're going to see it at the Indoor World Cup. Mark my words. Mark my words. We will see this at the Indoor World Cup because the progressive, smart, and experienced indoor nations know of this. They've been working with it for some time, and they're going to have tactics to exploit it because you can't legislate pretty. There's no way to regulate it with fairness and consistency without continuing to pile on rules. So this is going to break down. But I mean, we've got to carry it out and see what happens. And the only way we can gather data, friends, in a lot of senses, is to go along with it. We have to gather more data points. This interpretation has to be in place for long enough that we see the results on the pitch. And we realize that's a failed experiment. So remember that time when we had the own goal rule? Where all of a sudden, if any player touched it inside the circle and it went into the goal, that would be considered a goal, and how that was absolute pandemonium and everybody in the hockey world hated it. We needed data points. Are there other ways you can develop data points? Maybe. But let's give the rules committee a break on this one. They tried it for a year. It sucked. And then took it out of the rule book again. Things shift and change, but the information has to be given. So we can sit here. Let's get back to my rant of the week. We can sit there and talk about how that aerial interpretation is, oh my God, like we're not sure if we want to do this and we're not ready for it. And it's only been going on since the 2017 World Cup. And you can say that, but until it's actually put into place, it's coached effectively, the conversations are had, we don't really know what effect it's going to have on all levels of the game until it's in all levels of the game. And stopping that for the sake of stopping it maybe isn't the right choice. Man, I ranted again. Sorry. Simon, 2-minute yellow, 4-minute equivalent to the 10 in outdoor. Thank you. Yep. As it states in the Afspraken voor Bonscheidsrechters. That was my best Dutch. Very interesting. Oh, Stefan, you asked for it. Great mound of. You prefer Nick Cage or Shaft Fountain music? Well, Stefan, challenge accepted. You get on your graphic design program and you make me a transparent overlay, sir. WebM format preferably, because those are lightweight. Let's do it. Let's do it, okay? I only have so many hours in the day. Or give my soup. Give my stick. I don't know. Indoor Euros come before the Indoor World Cup. Okay, so yeah. And Greg, if you're going to any of those tournaments, please tell me about it. Okay? I'm going to be watching as much as I can, obviously, but there you go. It is in the briefing for the umpires in National League or in Netherlands, and I'm not sure what it is, but there you go. That flow chart would be a goof Christmas present. Yeah, anything that just starts and then it just goes flump. just like a fan, just flump after the second iteration. Whatever, the second level of that. It would just be crazy, wouldn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay. So to sum up today, always look at why. Hang on, music. Always look at why something has happened, because maybe that goalkeeper didn't drop her stick. The outdoor changes are only the penalty corner protective equipment, and if you're in England, you're not doing it yet. Indoor, the trapped ball is ugly hockey, and good luck as the data piles up that this isn't going to work. Ladies and gentlemen, Wow. The rule of the 5-minute yellow card indoor is in the briefing. Interesting, because you guys are usually up on this stuff. So I bet it'll change. And Niels, you haven't started your indoor season yet, I assume. I'm pretty sure, in the Netherlands. So I'd be interested to see if there's a change to get it in line. Because you guys were ahead of the game with the protective equipment part of the briefing. You had it in place. And I was like, wait, why are they doing that differently? Well, as it turns out, they just had the inside goods and they all knew. And all less in Q hour 2. Yeah, I did do it in less than a Keeley hour. By 2 minutes. Okay. It has been well, you know what the solution is to that, Greg, is that you fix your autocorrect. And you add a shortcut that every time you type Kelly, it autocorrects to Keeley. I'm just saying that maybe I've done that. And every time there's a Kelly, I'm like, I'm sorry, your name's going to be misspelled. That's the way it goes. Drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Why? The indoor briefing's been out for a month now. Oh, man. It's hurting cats, you guys. It's hurting cats. And I'm just a girl sitting on a live stream trying to help y'all umpire better hockey and have more fun while you're doing it. And you're caught in the middle of these power struggles that are just so silly. So if I came out here and I said, don't do the aerial interpretations, do you know who would get on my back about that? The FIH. How do I know? Ask me. Because it's happened before. And then England Hockey says, don't tell our people about it because we're not going to do it yet. There you go. You're welcome, Godders. I still appreciate you very much. That never changes. I just want you to think about what I said. Scott, almost a Keeley hour. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you, Scott. You're lobbying for a wrench, aren't you? I know you are. Don't let the algorithm think that our community is rubbish. Our community is the best. I really had a great time as always today. If you have things that you want me to approach, attack, if you have inspiration for my next rant of the week, please hop into the Discord server. Tell me all about it. You can also DM me if you want to keep it private. I get it. And if you want to give me some stern words, some advice, or some kudos, you can always send me a text and let me know. DM, all those sort of things. Thank you for being here, Greg. I always appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to your indoor season as well. You're very welcome. And yes, you guys make this show the awesome experience it is. So well done, you. We will see you next week. Have a great hockey weekend. And bye for now.